My name's Andy Morley, and I'm a finance manager at the Leicester City Council, and I was appointed as the finance director of Leicester City Challenge, and it was in that context that I met Richard. He was the patron of Leicester City Challenge project, which is, I don't know if you know, it was a major series of projects to revitalise certain parts of the city. Including, I think, this building itself was one of the projects. It was one of the City Challenge funded projects. And I know Lord Attenborough had taken a great interest in the whole project, which was why he was quite happy to be asked and accepted the role of being the patron. It was a very time-limited project. We had to get it all done within 5 years. And towards the end of the 5 years, Lord Attenborough was invited to come along and have a look at the fruits of all the work that we'd done since he agreed to be the patron. And that included a bit of a whistle-stop tour going around all of the sites that we'd improved with the government-funded money. And he was delightful to be with. He came on the coach, as of course you would expect, to go around all the different sites. And it was a pleasure to meet him in that context. And I particularly remember how interested he was in all the projects that had been done. I mean, he will have known quite a few of the areas that we went round from his time when he lived in Leicester. And I suppose his joy really at seeing the way some of the transformations had happened was good to behold. I mean, he was obviously very interested and engaged in the whole project. And at an individual level, it was a pleasure to be able to talk to him about, sit next to him on the coach, if you like, and just talk casually with him, which he was very easy to talk to, about how the projects had all gone. And he was talking to all the guys who'd sort of fronted some of these projects about the detail of the work and what it had involved. And it just struck me that although he's so well known and famous, of course, he was so easy to be with and to talk to. You almost felt, having talked to him for 20 minutes, that he was a good friend. It was that sort of ease of manner, which I think we all found extremely engaging. With Leicester bidding to be the City of Culture, I dare say the connections with Lord Attenborough will be made very frequently, because he's got to be one of the greatest sort of icons of the city's sort of recent cultural history, and being able to sort of associate the name of Leicester, bidding for City of Culture, with a son of Leicester, of Lord Attenborough, is obviously going to be I dare say it will be used quite a lot in the coming months. It's good for the morale, I think, of the city, of any city, to be able to link itself with somebody who's genuinely internationally famous. Well, I mean, the transformations in the city itself, I suppose one of the main flagship area was the area which is known as Bede Island, which, if you've lived in the city for anything like anything more than 20 years, you will remember was just a whole load of old railway sidings and scrapyards. There was a major fire there which led to a whole lot of evacuation of people living nearby, and the whole area was scrapyards and pretty much a no-go area, which has now been transformed through the project into a combination of sort of residential, affordable housing, some business units, and of course Bede Park, which is very well known, certainly by everybody who lives in that area. It's very, very well used. You go by Bede Park on a sunny day, and it's always very busy. The City Challenge project enabled that to happen. And of course, while we were engaged in all of that, in order to keep the funding bodies on board, being able to promote the City Challenge project and the company as a significant organisation, and being able to point to a patron of Lord Attenborough's standing, obviously always helps in any kind of engagement that you're trying to do with local people, whether it be on the sort of physical regeneration, which obviously that was, as I've just referred to. But there were a lot of other components to the project which were much more sort of perhaps low cost, but community based, which again was something that Lord Attenborough was very interested in, on going around and seeing what the kind of legacies were that were going to be left, because it wasn't all going to be sort of hard landscaping, soft landscaping, or building physical buildings. A lot of it was going to be on the community kind of engagement. That was probably pretty much the pinnacle of the the project, really. You know, apart from the fact that it was getting towards the end and we'd actually got some deliverable things that we'd actually achieved with it. But to know that we were going to get the patron coming down and have an opportunity to meet him and talk to him and proudly show him round, if you like. You know, it was all quite a nice buzz in the office when we knew that was happening. You know, so it certainly made a change from certainly being on the finance side. I didn't get out much, you know, so having a chance to get out there and actually go around all the sites and talk to him about them, you know, it was a time of considerable excitement in the office, actually. Yeah. He was interested in all the aspects of it. I mean, I think obviously the physical transformation of certain parts of the city is something which you can very readily appreciate, and which he was quite stunned, I suppose, in some ways, and in a good way, you know, taken by surprise at some of the sort of physical changes that we'd managed to achieve. You know, things like the old derelict PEX building, you know, down near the West Bridge, which was transformed into offices. Not a very exciting sounding project in many ways, but you've got a big sort of decaying 6-storey building there, which was again a bit of a blot and a blight on the landscape, which has been transformed, and all part of revamping the canal side and the riverside down there, which again can be such an attractive feature in the city, but which certainly when all the buildings around it are all derelict, it doesn't work. So I remember taking him down there and showing him all those sort of developments, and he was very well pleased about those. And there were some other sort of, perhaps on the cultural side, there was we'd put some money into developing a temple on the Narber Road, and we went in there and met the people who run that, and again he was very engaged on that, you know, sort of the cultural diversity aspect of it, which obviously is another of Leicester's features that we make some sort of considerable points about in terms of culture. And he was just as interested in meeting the people who were behind those sort of projects as he was interested in seeing the sort of physical impact of what we'd done. He certainly wasn't only interested in the big ticket items, if you like. He was deeper than that, you know, and realising that it comes together as a whole, where you're doing your physical regeneration, but if you haven't got sort of people at the heart of it, if you like, then it's likely to be less successful long term. So yeah, that certainly came over in the interest that he showed.